This Thursday, February 6th, NBA Betting Picks edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code NBA SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Edge Boost. Earn up to $750 per month on your sports gambling transactions. Go to edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everyone, to the NBA Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Thursday, February 6th, here to get into the card here for Thursday. We'll briefly discuss some of the trades that did also transpire yesterday after the show, more particular Jimmy Butler and also Mark Williams heading over to the LA Lakers. We'll get into all that. Of course, we'll break down the card for you on Thursday, side total, and we'll wrap it up, with our lock and dog and our Underdog Fantasy entry for the Thursday games. But joining me, of course, here to help me break down everything happening in the association, you guys know as the voice of the Tennis Gambling Podcast, WNBA, MLB, and of course here on the NBA Gambling Podcast, Scott Studio Reichel. Scott, what's going on, my man? How you doing?
They're doing pretty well. A pretty crazy day in the NBA. The games were pretty good yesterday, as a whole. I mean, you had a decent amount of blowouts because, it's the NBA, but there were some games that were close. Besides that, though, I feel like a lot of people want to talk about the trades. A lot of stuff happened yesterday, so where do you want to start?
Yeah, let's start with it. Jimmy Butler heading over to the Golden State Warriors. Let's see here, we had Andrew Wiggins on the move to Miami, so it turned into a little bit of a complicated situation. So let me get the exact details here because
there were 4 teams involved randomly.
So I think that we could start with this by prefacing that early in the day we saw the report that Kevin Durant didn't want to go to the Golden State Warriors. And then at that point, the Golden State Warriors shifted their focus to acquiring Jimmy Butler, and they were able to get that done in the latter part of the evening last night. So the exact details of that trade with Jimmy Butler heading over to the Golden State Warriors. And in return, so we had Dennis Schroeder, who ended up going to Miami, Kyle Anderson to Toronto, and then Andrew Wiggins and PJ Tucker also heading over to the Miami Heat. Had some picks involved in there as well, but I would think you say the bigger stuff or the bigger names: Jimmy Butler to the Golden State Warriors, Andrew Wiggins, Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Anderson leaving the Golden State Warriors, and a protected first-round draft pick, Wiggins and PJ Tucker, which expanded into a 4-team deal. End up with the Miami Heat, Dennis Schroeder with the Utah Jazz, Kyle Anderson going over to the Toronto Raptors. Raptors also did make another move. We'll get to that briefly. On top of that, Jimmy Butler and the Golden State Warriors agreed to a new 2-year, $121 million extension with the Golden State Warriors that will keep him through the 2026 and 2027 season, as he is declining his player option for next season for this new deal. So a lot of unpack here. Scott, we also had Lindy Waters III and Josh Richardson heading to Detroit as part of that deal as well. So those were the 4 teams involved there. Obviously not a shock here for people. We knew Jimmy Butler was going to be on the move. It was just a matter of when and not if and which team. Golden State was one of the preferred destinations for Jimmy Butler when the initial list came out. I think he was really trying to force his way to Phoenix. Didn't end up happening. So Golden State, I guess we can say that they were or wanted to bring another star player alongside Steph Curry and give them an opportunity. But now I think they're very, very cash strapped giving this new deal to Jimmy Butler. And look, if it wasn't going to be the Golden State Warriors, Scott, it was going to be another team that was going to get this done. So lo and behold, it is the Golden State Warriors, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Steph Curry now, the new big 3 there in the Bay Area.
Yeah, I feel like I got to start off by talking about the trade for Miami. Good for Miami. They had no leverage, and they got a pretty decent trade package back in return. I mean, you're looking at Andrew Wiggins, who I think actually fits pretty well with this Miami team.
Mhm.
The Magic did win a game yesterday, but they've been slumping a lot lately. The Hawks are injured, so Miami might win that division by default. And now they actually have a full roster because Jimmy Butler's no longer, sitting around for about a month straight not playing. So
Right.
the fact is they got Andrew Wiggins. They got a couple pieces who can potentially help out the roster. I believe they ended up with PJ Tucker.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to play or not, but that does kind of just fit the Heat culture vibe. So we'll
Gives
see
him
what
a
happens
veteran.
there. That's what I'm saying. He's a veteran. Worst case is they can get him the Haslam spot. And
Yeah.
he could just, try to coach up some of the younger guys. But point is, I like to trade for Miami. I mean, Miami, I thought, had no leverage because Butler was either going to leave for nothing or he was going to potentially opt into the player option, and Miami didn't want him. And yet they actually got a trade package in return. So I thought Miami did a good job getting something for Butler. For the Warriors, I give it a D-. I think it's a horrible trade for the Warriors. Now, the only reason why it's not an F is because I understand the logic of not wanting to waste away the final years of Curry's career, where you don't want to go through a full rebuild and you want to try to remain relevant. The problem is one of your biggest rivals, the Lakers, just got Luka. The Mark Williams trade happened after. But the argument is right now, if you're the Warriors, you're the 11 seed right now. And you have to think of how many teams with this current core, with Butler, with Draymond, assuming a healthy Kuminga, with Steph, etc., how many of these teams can you actually beat in a playoff series? Because you're not going to beat Oklahoma City. You're probably not going to beat Memphis. You're probably not beating the Lakers. You're probably not beating, the Rockets maybe because they're inexperienced, but that could still turn out to be a series loss.
Yeah.
The Warriors could still lose in the play-in. In theory, they could miss the play-in with Jimmy Butler. And at that point, you just traded away some players and a pick for nothing. So I don't think this moves the needle at all. And I think on top of that, when you factor in Jackson Davis, who starts, or Looney, you throw him with Draymond and with Butler, your spacing is going to be atrocious.
Yeah.
Because you have three non-shooters on the court at all times. So I think this is going to be a disastrous trade. And I think that it's really not going to change anything for Golden State. I get why they did it, because they wanted to at least try to swing for something with Curry still on the roster for a couple of years. And Curry has honestly not been that great for the last couple of months. But the point is they wanted to try to not waste away his final seasons. But in the process, they didn't really do anything to drastically make the team contenders. And they're pretending to be. So I give Golden State a D-. I think I give Miami an A or an A-, even though I'm not the biggest Wiggins guy. A decent package for a guy that didn't want to be there, who was owed a ton of money. And then Golden State, think matters worse, traded for a 35-year-old who's injured all the time. Give him 2 years, $121 million. Like, if you factor in the extension, I think it was a really bad move for Golden State, really just across all fronts. As for Miami, I like what they did. Detroit was involved. Utah got Schroeder. He's not staying there, so I don't really care about those two teams in general for this trade. But I think Miami drastically won the deal.
Yeah, Miami gets solid guy in Andrew Wiggins, who himself was having a really good season for the Golden State Warriors. So now you add that.
You could argue he had a better year than Jimmy Butler.
Yeah. And now you add him with Bam. You add him with Tyler Hero. Some of the pieces that they do have there. For the Golden State Warriors, I'm in the camp that I think that the player that they need to get rid of is Draymond Green, because I
can't believe he's still there.
I don't know what he does for this team. Yes, I understand over the past 7-8 years that he was an integral part of that offense, but now I think the miles are really adding up on the tires there. He doesn't really bring anything for you offensively. You always have these shenanigans with Draymond Green. So I think that, again, until they don't move on from a guy like Draymond Green, that this team, Golden State, is still going to be, like you mentioned, within the play-in tournament, a fringe 6 team or the 6th seed in the Western Conference.
You're looking at the standings right now, and they're currently in the 11, so they're out. Now, Phoenix is about to trade Durant, so you're assuming Phoenix will fall out. Sacramento, you don't know about because they got Levine instead of Fox, but they're the 8th seed right now. I'm assuming they'll fall out. San Antonio just got De'Aaron Fox. The Warriors are ahead of the Spurs, so I don't know how much longer that's going to be the case. And Portland's won 9 of 10.
Yeah.
Golden State could miss the play-in after making the Butler trade. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, this has I'd say a pretty strong chance of going terribly and a very small % chance of being successful with the trade. What's Golden State's ceiling right now? A second-round elimination if you pull off a first-round upset against, like, Houston? No offense.
Yeah, I think so. I think it would be probably second round exit unless they make another move here. Seeing maybe they move Looney or I don't know. We'll see.
But like, what are you getting out of that?
Yeah, I don't know exactly, right? So I think that right now for this
I don't even know what
Warriors
you're
team,
getting for Draymond at this point in his career. So I feel like Golden State, once again, it's a move that can make them somewhat relevant in these fake playoff scenario, etc. But once again, you throw in Jackson Davis or Looney, you throw in Draymond, who's also injured and is not the guy he used to be anyway. He can't shoot. And Jimmy Butler, who never shoots from the outside.
Yeah.
You're going to use all three of them at the same time?
Yeah.
Your spacing is going to be awful. That's a serious problem.
All right, before we continue the conversation here, we're running a free Squares pool for the Super Bowl, $1,000 winner take all for the final score squared. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/squares to sign up today. Again, that's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/squares. And due to popular demand, if we get 200 entries, we will release another $1,000 free Squares pool. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/squares. What anything else, Scott, for the Warriors and the Heat trade? Because I wanted to touch on the Brandon Ingram one as well.
Well, for those who know, I feel like once again, Miami, you could argue, doesn't move the needle for them either, but it wasn't meant to move the needle. The point is Jimmy Butler was such a team cancer. They wanted to get rid of him as quickly as possible, and they got Wiggins back for him. And Wiggins actually been a solid player so far this season. So I like the move for Miami. I think this move actually probably wins Miami the division, just based on how Orlando and Atlanta is a lost cause for me after Jalen Johnson got injured, but Orlando looked good yesterday. Then again, Sacramento can't guard anybody. I think it's a good deal for Miami. The fact is Miami was able to turn a complete, I'd say, cancer situation into an asset, maybe a couple actually, and I think they did a good job. So I think it's a good deal for Miami. Golden State might be a play-in team.
Yeah.
If that, I don't think they make it into the playoff field. That's my stance. I think they lose in the play-in. If I had to guess right now on what the outcome is going to be for their season. Besides that, I don't know if you want to talk about I'm trying to remember if this happened before the show yesterday or not. The big three with Kyle Kuzma.
I didn't understand the move really. I don't know. Maybe I scratched my head.
Well, I understand the move. It was solely about saving money.
Right. Yeah. And they got him under that second apron.
The point is they can now make other roster moves if they want to. So because of the apron system, they got Kuzma because it saved them. I think it was like $10 million per year, which allows them to go under the apron, which can get them opportunities to trade more players. So Milwaukee didn't do it because they thought Kuzma was the key to winning a title. They did it because they wanted the cap flexibility to make other moves for the roster. Is it going to matter? Probably not. But that was one move that happened. The Wizards are just making stuff up as they go, which I thought was pretty funny. And then you have the Ingram trade, which I think is pretty interesting.
Yeah, so the Pelicans then ended up trading Brandon Ingram to the Toronto Raptors for Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, and one first-round draft pick and a second-rounder for Brandon Ingram.
It seems like Bruce Brown will be bought out, by the way.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a solid pickup for any team.
Denver.
Yeah, I think
go
back to Denver because they could use your services. But yeah, I think that this conversation was happening over the past several seasons, of course, with the fit of Zion and Brandon Ingram together. Zion has looked pretty solid in the minutes that he's been playing. They've been capping him around 28 to 29 minutes per night, but he's been good, doing their best to keep him healthy. There was going to be an odd man out. And unfortunately for Brandon Ingram, it is going to be him, who heads to Toronto now, pairing up with Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, Jakob Poeltl. Will probably end up being your starting five there. Grady Dick is there as well. But thoughts on this trade here, Scott?
Yeah, my thoughts are pretty simple. New Orleans decided, you know what, Ingram's injured and our team sucks, so we're going to start trading off some pieces. For Toronto, Masai loves to buy low on players, but do I think this team is worth a damn? No. Like, I'm looking at the overall starting five, potentially. You're looking at Quickley, who's injured all the time. You have Barrett, you have Barnes, you have Ingram. I don't know if these guys actually fit well with each other. They're not going to guard anybody. To be clear, they're going to give up 120 points per game, but they might be entertaining. So I guess the argument is if you're Toronto and you're Masai and you want your team to be somewhat relevant, the bottom half of the East is going to be punting for Cooper Flag. So if you want to try to make the play-in, you got a shot at it. So I guess that's the light at the end of the tunnel for this team at the by season's end. But
Yeah.
in reality, I think it's a move that makes Toronto entertaining.
Yeah.
That's basically it. I don't think Ingram is necessarily a winning basketball player. I don't know how many guys on their team are winning basketball players, but they're going to score a bunch of points. They're not going to guard anybody. And I think their bench is fine, not great. But I think it's just a weird trade because Toronto was really in no position to be acquiring a, I don't want to use the term star player because I think that Brandon Ingram's below that, but I'll say it for the sake of it, a star player when your team's record's that bad, but Toronto's been playing better lately, I guess. Yeah, Toronto just decided, you know what, I'm going to try to be half relevant for a play-in spot. And New Orleans said, damn, we're terrible. We might as well trade off one of our better players who's always injured. So, yeah, Masai's been doing weird things for years, and this is one of them. So, Toronto will be fun. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, we'll even see when Brandon Ingram even returns for this Pelicans team there. But again, what we mentioned, that this trade or this player in particular, Brandon Ingram, was a name that was going to be on the move, whether it was last season, this season, eventually did happen. This trade deadline here. Again, we still have another about another 5 hours before the trade deadline is up here on Thursday. So keep your eyes and ears and
I think it's less
on.
actually. I think it's 3 p.m. So I think it's 3.5 hours.
Okay. All right. Before we get into the games here for tonight, it's not little. It's not the itty bitty tiny bowl. It's the Super Bowl 59 happening on Sunday. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Scoring touchdowns is the key to hoisting the Vince Lombardi Trophy, and you have a shot to score big by winning on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the number one place to bet touchdowns. New DraftKings customers can bet just $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SGP. That's code SGP for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the number one AI-powered back sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds. Build your own model, copy one of the top-performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build a model for you. NFL picks, NFL props, college basketball, and NBA. Rhythm, honestly, they have it all. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, Scott, let's get into it here for the Thursday card. We'll start here with the first game. It will be the Dallas Mavericks. They are in Boston to take on the Celtics. Celtics laying 10 points here at home with a total of 229.5. Injury report with the Dallas Mavericks. Anthony Davis is questionable for this game. Derek Lively, Caleb Martin, Dwight Powell, and PJ Washington are all out for the Dallas Mavericks. For the Boston side of things, Drew Holiday is questionable. Other than that, everybody is a go for this Boston Celtics team. Celtics laying 10 at home with a total of 229.5 here. Scott, what are your thoughts?
I mean, a lot of it comes down to Anthony Davis, to be honest, because you have no PJ Washington, and I kind of want to see Anthony Davis play with the Mavericks. So
yeah,
I guess I'm going to go with Boston. I'm not going to bet Boston because you can't trust them game in, game out, but who knows? I feel like Dallas still missing PJ, definitely going to be, I say, missed in this game. They almost beat the Sixers, did lose. Embiid had a triple-double, though, in his first game back, so that's not a good look for the front court for Dallas, but I think I'm going to go with the Celtics here. I just think they're a bad matchup for Dallas. They have a lot of size, they have a lot of scoring depth, and I don't think Dallas has any of those things. So I'll go with the Celtics here. Once again, if AD plays, maybe I'll reconsider, But AD also hasn't played for like a week or two.
Yeah.
And it's his first game with a new team. So I don't know how many minutes he's going to play or how I'd say comfortable he's going to be with this current Jason Kidd system. I'll go with Boston. I'm probably not going to bet this game, but I think Boston's in a better spot to win and control this game. So give me Boston.
Yeah, I like the Boston side here as well. It's just availability right now for this Dallas Mavericks team. And I mean, when you have no front court depth, aside from us waiting to see if AD does in fact suit up tonight, the Celtics should have a pretty good night rebound the basketball. And I know they don't really have that traditional center, but guys like Al Horford, Jason Tatum, Porzingis, Jaylen Brown's a pretty decent rebounder there as well. I just think it'll be a lot of jump shooting for this Dallas Mavericks team here tonight against this Celtics team. Celtics did beat the Dallas Mavericks back on January 25th in their building in Dallas, 122-107. For the Boston side of things, outside of that, again, I just feel like not enough bodies right now available for this Dallas Mavericks team. Just kind of looking at some of the ATS numbers. Boston at home this season, not very good as a home favorite, 9-16, 11-14 in the first half. Dallas Mavericks in the first half of games are 10-6 ATS as an away underdog and just 8-8 ATS as an away dog this season. But I think Boston should come out here and take care of business. Should is the key word. Anything for the total, Scott?
Not really. I think I'll go under on this one, but probably not going to bet it. I just wonder how Dallas' offense is going to look with AD potentially playing. PJ Washington, those had a good year. He's out, and I think Boston defensively, when they're engaged, they can shut teams down. So I'll go with the under, but it's not really a strong opinion.
All right. Next game on the board, we got the Houston Rockets. They are visiting the Minnesota Timberwolves in this matchup. Rockets laying 1.5 here on the road with a total of 215. Injury report. Both of these teams Minnesota Timberwolves did play yesterday, so they get the extra time to submit their injury report. For the Houston Rockets, Jabari Smith, of course, continues to be out. Fred VanVleet is going to be out for this team as well. He has a right ankle sprain. Steven Adams is doubtful here tonight. He has left ankle soreness, and like I mentioned, Minnesota did play yesterday against the Chicago Bulls in a nice performance from one Anthony Edwards. He finished the game with 49 last night?
I think it was 49, yeah.
Yeah, 49 points for him last night. 127-108 victory, but they are in the second leg of a back-to-back here. It's a home-and-home back-to-back, but Scott, Rockets laying 1.5 here at home.
Yeah, I think I'll go with Houston in this one. Not really a strong opinion, though. I think this game should be close. I think it's going to be a war. These teams, I think, are going to kill each other, but I think it's a better spot for Houston. They've been slumping lately, though. I don't believe we've talked since my team beat your team's ass twice in the span of a week. How you feeling after that inbound pass?
Come on, man. Those are two games that we should have won. But like you mentioned, I think
I'll say one game you should have won because the other game you got destroyed in. But yes, on the schedule you should have won both.
Jalen Green, what are you doing? I'll leave it at that.
That was Green or that was Amon Thompson who inbounded the ball?
I thought it was Green.
I thought it was Amon Thompson.
I'll double check.
Either way, point is they had a timeout in their pocket and they decided to inbound it underneath their own basket. So that's probably not the best idea by Udoka. But point is the Nets were able to beat the Rockets, but the Rockets blew a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter of the Knicks. They lost the game to the Nets twice. Not exactly in great form, but I do think that the Timberwolves are in a pretty bad spot based on the back-to-back. Not to mention the fact that you're looking at the overall injury news. Gobert's expected to play in this game as he ended up having a solid game against the Bulls. 10-15. I know Naz Reid was great last game. I don't see any news about anybody sitting on a back-to-back, so we'll see if Minnesota is at full strength for this game or not. But Ant at 49, you have seen them face off already this season, and Houston is currently 1-1, but both games were very close. Houston won the first game in Minnesota in overtime back in November, played again in late December, and Minnesota won by 1 in Houston. So the road team's actually 2-0 in the head-to-head, but once again, in the actual regulation, they've been separated by a combined 1 point. So it tells you these teams are going to kill each other. I think I'll go with Houston, but I don't feel great about it. I'm probably not going to bet this game. I find the total fascinating, though, because the second meeting landed 225. The first meeting landed 228, but that was after overtime. So you might meet in the middle somewhere, but I think I am going to go under because Houston's offense has not been great recently. Give me the under in this game and give me what should be a very close battle. I don't mind Houston 1-10, Maybe Minnesota 1-10, but I see a close game down the stretch.
Yeah, it was in fact Amen Thompson. He had a different hairdo there. That's why I felt like he looked like Jalen Green. But yeah, that was a bad ending to that game for sure for the Rockets. I think they'll bounce back here tonight. I think you're right. This is going to be one of those physical matchups, competitive matchup here. The Rockets, they typically bounce back after losing a game, and I think that
I thought they did that against the Nets, and then they ended up blowing the
they
lead
choked it.
with 6 seconds left. But yeah,
execution has not been part of or the good part about this Rockets.
Well, we
team
talked about it. They don't have any closers on their entire team.
Yeah, so we'll see. Again, maybe we trade for Kevin Durant today. Who knows? Fingers crossed. But
Durant's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, we'll see.
You want to guess where Durant goes? People think Dallas has a shot at it.
That would be wild. But they would have to give up.
I don't know what they'd have to give up besides picks. Because you think about what Phoenix is offering. Like, I know Durant's Durant, but they're trying to blow up the team.
Yeah, but where would he end up now? Like,
I actually have a pretty hot take on where I think that Durant goes, but
yeah,
I'll ask you where you think he goes. You think Houston's a possibility?
I think Houston is a possibility because they were coveting him before the season started, but that may be just my fandom's thinking. It's funny that they went from that Bradley Beal for sure was going to be on the move now to now we're us talking about Kevin Durant. But
yeah, Bradley Beal went from being guaranteed to be traded to being potentially the only guy on the entire team besides like Booker.
Yeah. I mean, Rockets would be the guess for me. What else do I think? Off the top of my head, I really couldn't think of another team that has the assets. Let's finish this game up, and then you can give your thoughts on where you think Durant.
Well, I have to bring it up because if Houston does trade for Durant, it might be shorthanded in this game.
Yeah. So I like the Rockets as it stands right now because I feel like the Rockets do make some type of trade. Maybe it's not an elaborate one, but I like
and it means you probably want Minnesota though, because that means Houston's probably going to be shorthanded for this game if they make a trade.
Yeah. Just expand on that PJ Tucker talk we had. He just got traded to the Raptors. Davion Mitchell heading to the Miami Heat.
PJ Tucker is only used for his salary at this point. We're at the point where he's just there to balance out salaries for trades.
Yeah. So under, I think, is my favorite play in this game here, Scott. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I see Kirk saying that Durant should stay in Phoenix. I guarantee you he won't because they purposefully sat him out of the Thunder game yesterday solely so they could potentially trade him today. So I don't think Durant's going to be there. My hot take is the Grizzlies.
Okay.
They're playing good basketball. I get it. But when you're looking at the assets, they can potentially trade for a guy like that. The Grizzlies make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So that's my, I'd say, dark horse candidate. They were linked to Jimmy Butler. He turned that down. That means they clearly are looking for somebody, a veteran presence who can maybe be a leader on that team. I think Durant makes a lot of sense to go to Memphis.
All right.
That's my hot take.
I don't hate it. Yeah, I don't hate that. All right. Let's keep it moving here. Next game on the board, we'll go with the Orlando Magic. They are in Denver to take on the Nuggets. Nuggets are laying 7.5 to 7 in this game. Starting to see some sevens pop up, so maybe some money coming in on the Magic here. Total is around 219.5 to 220, depending on your book. Injury report for this game, the Orlando Magic are listing KCP as a questionable tag. Gary Harris is questionable, and Jalen Suggs is doubtful. Denver did play yesterday against the Pelicans, where they won that game very, very comfortably, 144 to 119 over the Pelicans. Another triple-double, I believe, for Jokic.
He didn't get the rebounds.
Oh, he didn't get the rebounds, but
he had 38 points though. I think Porter Jr. had like 37 as well.
30, yeah, 39 last
39,
night.
39, okay.
12 rebounds for Michael Porter Jr. But back at it here tonight, hosting the Orlando Magic. Scott, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, I'm going to go Denver in this game. I know the Magic won a game. Congratulations. They scored 130 against Sacramento. Damn, how bad can your defense be to give up 130 to Orlando right now? But a win's a win. Point is, though, Denver coasted against the Pelicans, especially in that third quarter. I think they scored 45 in that quarter. But, yeah, Orlando's been a mess. They can't really score. They're on a back-to-back. I wonder if Banchero and Franz will play in this game. I don't know if they've played a back-to-back yet since coming back from injury. So there might be a chance that Orlando sits a guy or two in this game. I don't think Denver's going to sit anybody because, once again, they got to coast the entire second half for the most part. But I think that Denver's been a lot better than Orlando. You got Joker, who I don't think anybody on Orlando can guard. You're looking at Denver defensively. They have not been that great, but they're good enough. I saw a stat, though. I forgot the exact numbers record-wise, but basically Denver needs to score 120 in order to win games.
Mm-hmm.
The record when they score 120 is really good, and when they score below 120, it's really bad. So that's the summary of the stat. I don't have it in front of me, though. But I think Denver should get to 120 in this game. I'll go with the Nuggets in this game because Orlando I still don't fully trust. I saw them lose to Golden State earlier this past week because they scored 99 points. It was ugly. They're really bad in the half court. Denver can get whatever they want offensively because Joker is a one-man offense who gets everybody open looks. Give me Denver -7 now.
Yeah, Orlando, it's just the type of team that needs a guy like a Kevin Durant, honestly.
Durant will be a fun matchup for a combo for the Nuggets in theory, but they said they're not trading Porter Jr., so that's not going to happen.
Yeah. I think if it came down to that for Kevin Durant, I think they would. But
I mean, I would trade Porter Jr. for Durant, but the point is it seems like they're happy with Porter for now, so they're not going to make a move.
Yeah. Yeah, Magic have been struggling offensively. I mean, they did drop 130 on the Sacramento Kings, so that kind of tells you where their defense is at right now. But Denver, they're just playing really good basketball right now. We had concerns about this team earlier in the season, but here they are sitting at 32-19 on the season. Jokic just looked good. Michael Porter Jr. has stepped it up. I know they've been without Russ for a couple games here, but they've had different guys step up every single night here. And when you talk about Denver being at home, that's been a very profitable angle. In the past for this Denver Nuggets team. And again, like you mentioned, that just a matchup against Jokic, it's going to be a difficult one for this Orlando Magic team. We'll see if they play. I mean, they're going to be obviously without possibly KCP. Jalen Suggs is out. Their guard depth is pretty much non-existent. Guys,
do you think Banchero and Franz are guaranteed to play on a back-to-back? Because I don't think so. Guaranteed to play.
I don't think so either. So I think maybe one of those two guys sits here tonight, and then you're really screwed because you already couldn't score many points. There was a stretch where they had 3 straight games where they scored less than 100 points, and then against the Sacramento Kings, they exploded for 130 there. So, Denver would be the look here for me. I mentioned this on the second leg of a back-to-back for the Orlando Magic. The first half under is 7-1 in those Magic games. So second leg of a back-to-back for the Magic. First half under is 7-1. Denver this season as a home favorite, 11-8. They also are 7-3 against the number as a home favorite on a back-to-back situation. So I'll say this. Yeah, it's Denver here for me as well. I just think that it's pretty simple. I feel like they'll just go out there and outscore them just because Magic really don't have the offense. So Denver -7 for me. Scott, anything on the total you like?
For the total, I think that Denver once again can score what they want. I don't know what Orlando's going to score. So I feel like I got to go with Denver team total over.
Yeah.
And go from there. But nothing really strong. Once again, I got to wait for the injury report or even the trade report for these teams. Yeah. I feel like that's kind of a common approach for most people today. You might want to wait till after 3 p.m. to place your bets today.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to bet on a team and they basically traded half the roster. So keep that in mind. By the way, updates on the PJ Tucker trade. The Raptors did trade Davion Mitchell to Miami for Tucker and a second-round pick.
Right.
So Toronto really doesn't want to guard anybody. That's my takeaway. Davion Mitchell's one of the only guys on the team that actually guards anybody. So they really want to play Harlem Globetrotter basketball.
Yep. All right, before we get over to the next game on the schedule, let me tell everyone about our friends over at Edge Boost. SGPN has partnered with Edge Boost, the premier Visa debit card for bettors. An Edge Boost card allows you to avoid the hassle of having your card denied at the sportsbook, DFS site, sweepstakes site, racetrack, or casino. Plus, you can earn up to $750 per month in cashback rewards for using your Edge Boost card. And you know your money is safe as the card is FDIC insured. The best part is no credit checks and it's completely free. Sign up today and use promo code SGPN to get better cashback rewards and instant tier 2 status. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. Again, edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. The big game is coming this Sunday, and Underdog has you covered. The new customers get a Travis Kelce free pick if they sign up before the game. Plus, Underdog's site-wide no-sweat entry token is live now. You can cash in on your Underdog entry or get bonus credit in return. Sign up with promo code NBA SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Again, that's underdogfantasy.com. Make sure you guys use that promo code NBA SGPN. All right, let's keep it rolling here. 3 games left to get to. We'll go with the Golden State Warriors. They are in LA to take on the Lakers. Lakers are laying 7 in this game with a total of 222.5. Injury report. Golden State, of course, did play last night. Will be a little bit thin at the, I guess, available bodies. Maybe Steph Curry sits on a back-to-back night. Maybe Draymond sits. We'll see. For the LA Lakers, Luka is out for this game, but the expectation is that he makes his Lakers debut on Saturday. LeBron is listed as probable. Cam Reddish is doubtful. Gabe Vincent is probable, and Christian Wood is out for this game. So out, Maxi Kleba, Christian Wood, doubtful, Cam Reddish, probable tags on LeBron and Gabe Vincent, and Luka will be out for this game, but his expected debut is on Saturday for this Lakers team. Nonetheless, Lakers laying 7 here at home. Scott, total of 222. What are your thoughts?
Who's got the chalk?
How the hell am I supposed to bet on Golden State? I mean, just wondering, because I feel like you're looking at the Warriors, who, first of all, have gotten killed by the Lakers for the last couple of years. And so far this year, they're 0-2. Now, they're playing in LA. Even forgetting about the trades they made, including Mark Williams, great trade by the Lakers. We'll talk about that in a second. I don't know who's going to play for the Warriors in this game, because I'm assuming Jimmy Butler, who has not played in a couple weeks, will not be playing, because he's going to have to ramp up and practice and stuff like that. You throw in the Lakers, and even though Luka's not going to play, and I'm assuming Mark Williams will not play either, because he's probably going to have to deal with the training staff and pass a physical and all this other stuff. So the Lakers, though, even without Anthony Davis at the time, were playing really good basketball. They killed the Clippers by 20, basically, and they could have won that game by 30 if they wanted to. They've been playing really good ball. Beat the Knicks and MSG, beat the Clippers on the road. They've been, once again, solid, and the Warriors have not. They lost to the Suns by about 25. They're blowing up their team. Barely beat Orlando. They blew a double-digit lead in that game, too. They ended up barely holding on to win. Then they lost to Utah. They led by 11 with 3 minutes to go, and they lost to Utah. So I don't think this team's worth a damn, and they're shorthanded. So give me the Lakers, who have played great basketball. LeBron has been cooking, even with a shorthanded roster. They look really solid. If you want to talk about vibes and chemistry right now, it's really good with the Lakers. I'll put it that way. So the Lakers are playing good ball right now at the right time, and the Warriors are not. Give me the Lakers -7, because 1, they've owned this team, and B, the Warriors are very shorthanded. Losing Wiggins is a big deal when you can't replace him for 1 game. I think the Lakers can get by without Connect, who's a bench player, who doesn't play many minutes. They can get by with Jackson Hayes at center for 1 more game. I'll go with the Lakers -7.
Yeah, I mentioned Cam Reddish on the injury report, but he was part of the trade for Mark Williams. So it was Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, a 2031 unprotected first-round pick, and a 2030 pick swap to the Charlotte Hornets for Mark Williams.
I actually like the trade for both teams. It's one of those trades with Charlotte where you figure, oh, it's the Hornets. They can't make a single trade correctly. Not bad. Mark Williams, very solid player. He's hurt a lot. That's the trade-off, but the Hornets know they have to be terrible. It's also funny, though, how they had Nick Richards and they had Mark Williams, and now they have no centers at all, which I find kind of amusing. But the Hornets decided, you know what, we're terrible, we're tanking, we will get at least 1 first-round pick for Williams. And they got Connect, who is an older rookie, but he can shoot. I think Lakers fans thought he was fine.
Yeah.
It's a very good deal for the Lakers. They got a high upside center who can maybe be their missing piece to win a title. Who knows? But I think it's actually a decent trade for both teams.
Yeah, I think the concern about Mark Williams, number one, is what you mentioned about the injuries. And, of course, effort, I think, has been a question for him as well. But now that you're playing with Luka and LeBron, I mean, your motivation going from one of the worst organizations from a win-loss perspective and maybe generally ran, now going over to the LA Lakers where you're playing with LeBron, you're playing with Luka, you're playing in LA, competing, at least for a championship. But Rob Pelinka did a fantastic job, man. I think we got to give him a lot of credit for what he's been able to do over this trade deadline, adding guys like Luka and Mark Williams to, pair up with LeBron here. So it's going to be a fun team to watch for sure. If you're a Lakers fan, you're definitely excited about the future outside of LeBron now, because you have Mark Williams, you have Luka as part of your future now for the Lakers. But at least for this game, yeah, I agree with you. It's Lakers or pass for me. I would expect possibly Curry or one of Draymond Green or somebody to sit here tonight. And like you mentioned, this is the third matchup where the Lakers have won each of the first two matchups this season here. So they have the rest advantage. Do the Lakers. So I'll lay it here with the Lakers -7. Anything on the total you like?
Total's a bit tricky because I think the Lakers can potentially get whatever they want, but I don't know if the Warriors are going to score much against this team because the Lakers offensively have been great for the last couple games. I'll go with the Lakers team total over. Golden State gave up 130 last night, I think, to Utah. 131. It was ugly. So I don't really trust this defense right now. Wiggins is one of their better on-ball defenders, and they don't have that. So give me the Lakers team total over.
Yeah, just looking up what they gave up yesterday.
It was 131.
Yeah, 131 to the Utah Jazz there. So yeah, I don't hate that call there by you for the Lakers team total over. All right, next game on the board, we'll go with Sacramento Kings. They are taking on the Red Hot Blazers. Blazers laying a point here at home with a total of 230. Injury report start here with the Sacramento Kings. Not yet one submitted because they did play yesterday against this Orlando Magic.
Well, they allegedly played. They didn't show up, but they allegedly played.
Yeah, they put on the uniform, but the effort level is definitely in question last night, losing the game by 19 points. Blazers, on the other hand, one of the hotter teams, at least from a winning streak perspective, are laying a point here on their injury report. They're very healthy. Only Matisse Thybulle is out for this team. Everybody else is a go. Blazers laying a point here. Scott, what are your thoughts?
So the Blazers are playing great basketball, and the question is, since they're playing great ball right before the trade deadline, does Portland do anything? Because they actually might have a shot at a playing spot. Now, they could trade Jeremy Grant. No offense to Jeremy Grant. I really don't care if he gets traded or not. He means absolutely nothing to me on this team. I like how Portland's played. I think Portland's actually played well enough to force the front office to not do much at the deadline. Because you can argue that they actually might buy at the deadline because they can fight for a playing spot. Who knows? But they're currently 9-1 in their last 10. They've won 5 straight. Sacramento's been terrible. Levine played yesterday, not well. They gave up 130 to Orlando, who was one of the worst offenses in the league for about a month straight. I know that Paolo and Franz came back, but they've still not really been good since they came back, and they got torched. So they're traveling. Portland's won 6 of their last 7 home games, I believe. Yep. And I do want to give you a stat here. Over the last 10 games, do you want to guess which team ranks number 1 in the league in defensive rating?
That would be the one Portland Trailblazers.
Do you want to guess which team ranks number 1 in rebounding rate over the last 10 games?
That would be the one Portland Trailblazers.
That is correct. And they're number 10 in offense as well. So
ding,
Portland's
ding, ding.
number 1 in the last 10 games in offense, rebounding, and they're top 10 in offense. Kings are second worst in defense. They are 24th in rebounding, even though Sabonis is there. Valanciunas probably does not play in this game. He just got traded to them. I'm assuming he's going to have to go through, once again, the physicals and all this stuff with the trainers to ramp up, whatever that means. Give me Portland. I know that they were originally dogs in this game, and the line's flipped by about 2.5 points. The Kings are really not playing great basketball. Yep. Portland, the chemistry's been great. They've been playing great ball. Defensively, they've been amazing. Time Lord with Klingon and with Ayton as well. The front court's been really good. Give me Portland. I like how they're playing. I think 1's too short.
Yeah, Kings, when they have the rest disadvantage like they do here tonight, ATS-wise, 2-9, I should say, ATS, so not very good. And then when they have, again, the rest disadvantage in the first half, ATS numbers 4-7. So I think the Portland Trailblazer team total over is the look here for me. I'd lay it with the Blazers here as well, money line. They're playing well, like Scott mentioned.
Do you think they make a move? Because I actually think they might just...
Portland?
Yeah, I think they might keep everyone there and just see what happens.
Yeah, I mean...
They might trade Jeremy Grant, but I really don't care. So
I think maybe like one of their front court depth guys, like maybe like a Robert Williams gets traded.
He's playing really well, though. Like, that's kind of what I'm wondering, because Portland, you got to remember with the franchise, I mean, Bill Walton was in the 70s. You had Dame Lillard. And, of course, you had Brandon Roy who got injured.
Yeah.
They haven't really had anything, like, besides that. And you're looking at what they've done lately. They've been kind of a laughingstock.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is the young guys have actually played well, whether it involves Scoot, who's kind of come on a bit lately. You have Sharp, who's coming off the bench. You have Simons. You have a lot of guys that I find intriguing. Denny Avdia, who's been really good. I think they might just let the young guys play and see what happens, because it doesn't seem like they want to tank. And the play-in's actually closer than you might think. So I don't see them doing much in terms of deadline. I actually like Portland quite a bit.
Yeah, right now in the standings, at least for the Portland Trailblazers,
they're all like 4 back of a play-in spot right now.
3.5 from the Phoenix Suns.
It's really not that bad.
It's really not at this point in the season. They still have about 31 games left to play here, especially with the way they are playing. So we've seen crazier things happen. I think San Antonio would be the one team to. I wonder what they're. I'll look at this offline. This is a completely different topic, but I mean, De'Aaron Fox looked really good in his debut last night for this Spurs team.
The Spurs should be fine. The Warriors, we have no idea. They could stay out of the play, and that wouldn't shock us. And you're assuming the Kings will fall out because Zach LaVine is significantly worse than De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah. So yeah, Portland here for me. Team total over for the Portland Trailblazers. Anything else you like for this game, Scott?
Not really. I think that rebounding could be an option for the Blazers if that's hoping that Ayton actually tries in a game. He's played well for the most part. Indiana, not so much because he had 4 fouls in the first half, but he's played well in general. The Kings, I don't really know what their offensive identity is anymore. Are they just going to let LaVine ISO ball, or are they going to give it to Monk? They have a lot of isolation players, which I don't think really blend well together. And we saw yesterday, they don't guard anybody. So it's a bad matchup for them.
The Spurs are plus 370 to make the playoffs on DraftKings right now.
See, the issue is playoffs compared to play-in, because whoever gets into that play-in, it should be an absolute war. Like, if you're looking at the teams that are projected to be in there, assuming the Kings get bounced out and assuming that the Suns, who are about to trade Durant for probably picks, are going to fall out too, you're looking at what could be an interesting, I'd say, set of matchups between maybe the Warriors, maybe the Spurs, maybe in theory the Timberwolves, who knows. But you have some interesting matchups there. So I don't know if I'd want to take that, because that would involve the Spurs probably winning, 2 play-in games?
Yeah.
So you're basically having a 2-big money line parlay.
Yeah, and I think they would. There'd probably be.
Unless you think they can get the 7 or 8, and they're hosting they have 2 shots to win 1 game.
I think they are right now. They're only 2.5 games back of Dallas for the 8th spot.
Forgot to mention Dallas, by the way. Dallas randomly is like in the 9 spot, and they got Anthony Davis and company. So
yeah, and they're 3.5 out of the Minnesota Timberwolves to the 7th spot right now. So keep an eye on that. I mean, it's a 1-game sample. It was against Atlanta, who doesn't play any defense. But
they didn't play any defense either, though. They blew a 20-something point lead in that game.
Yeah. So we'll see. All right. Last game of the night here, Scott. We've got the Indiana Pacers. They are in LA at the Intuit Dome to take on, the Clippers. Clippers laying 5 points here at home with a total of 229. Injury report for the Indiana Pacers. Pretty clean for them. Nobody really of significance. The usual suspects of Isaiah Jackson and Quentin Jackson out and doubtful. For the LA Clippers side of things, where is their injury report? It's not listed here for whatever reason, but they didn't play yesterday either, so that's interesting. But I haven't really seen it. Any news about any players being out for the Clippers there, but nonetheless, Clippers are laying 5 here at home, Scott. Total of 229.
So I think I am going to take the Clippers. I think it's a good get-right spot, arguably for both teams. Halliburton was terrible last time he was on the court, so you could argue that he's in line for a better game. Portland looked really good. As for the Clippers, they got blown out on national television by their arch rival. And that game was not close at all. They got absolutely curb stomped from the get-go. They gave up like 70-plus points in the first half. It was a mess. Give me the Clippers. I think it's a good spot. You could argue for them to get back on track after that embarrassing showing where the effort was not there. I think Ty Lue, worst case scenario, will get better effort from his guys. Pacers were in a weird spot. I think they were on a back-to-back in that game against Portland. I think Halliburton didn't score a point in that game. He was useless for the entire matchup. Yeah, there needs to be some conversations amongst either the Pacers front office or Pacers fans about Halliburton.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to ask you, it seems like he is slumping either because of injury or maybe just because teams have figured him out. He has not nearly been as good this year as he was last year. I want to ask you about it because Halliburton, I think, has been extremely underwhelming compared to what the expectations were. His stats are fine.
Right.
They're not what we were hoping they would be for an all-star caliber point guard or somebody we thought was an all-star caliber point guard. So I'm going to ask you because I think I like the Clippers a bit more right now.
I think teams have figured out Tyrese Halliburton. Wasn't really a guy that had a jump shot, right? Like he has an awkward release.
The percentage was there, but the actual setup to the jump shot, it's a lot of herky-jerky dribbling. Not the most fluid ball handler.
Mm-hmm.
So if he kind of goes back to like the cross, I'd say I don't even know what to call it. It's not really a crab dribble, but it's like you know what I mean, like an elongated, awkward crossover.
Yeah,
that's kind of his go-to move with a step back thrown in there.
Yeah,
he doesn't really have many other dribble moves. I feel like teams are starting to figure out his dribble tendencies to take away space, and that has resulted in a lot of really ugly shots. That's at least my takeaway watching him play.
I think also that they have Benedict Mather in the starting lineup. You also have another ball handler, Andrew Nembhard, in the starting lineup. Siakam is there as well. Like those other two guys were, at least Nembhard and Mather, were guys that were coming off of the bench for the Pacers, just last season or even the season prior. And I think that's kind of taken away from the production of the automatic assist that we were betting for Hallie to go over. So now you have other ball handlers that are on the floor with him. So I think that kind of takes away from his production as well. But I think developing a consistent jump shot, I think has to be the next thing for Hallie, because you need another scorer next to guys like Siakam. I know Matherin is another guy there as well. But at least for this game, I'm with you, excuse me, on the Clippers. -5. Quick note here, Anthony Davis present at shoot-around for the Dallas Mavericks. Okay. So maybe he makes his debut here tonight for the Dallas Mavericks. So keep an eye on that. Anything else for Pacers Clippers, Scott?
Not really. Once again, I think the Clippers will look sharper, especially after that Lakers game, which is a good spot in general to back an NBA team. I don't have the stats in front of me, but when a team gets embarrassed on national TV and they play the game after, they tend to be a pretty solid bet-on candidate for that one. But Indiana, they're not bad, and I think that they've played great basketball lately. But I feel like Halliburton might, I don't want to say hold this team back, but they need him to play a lot better moving forward for me to take them seriously as a dark horse candidate to actually make a lot of noise in the playoffs. And right now, Halliburton has just been too inconsistent for me.
Yeah. All right, so that is the last game of the night for the Thursday card. Like I mentioned, Anthony Davis was present at shoot-around for the Dallas Mavericks, so possibly does make his debut for the Dallas Mavericks against Boston tonight. All right, 2 orders of business here, Scott. That's going to be our lock and dog, and then we'll put together our Underdog Fantasy entry here for tonight. Let's start with our lock and dog. You want to lead us off?
Sure. So for the lock on the show, I think I am going to go with the Lakers in this game. The question is, how exactly do I want to back them? I think they should cover the 7, but I might prefer halftime, full-time, actually. Because with the Warriors being shorthanded, the Lakers have been really good in the first half lately. I think that they can get off to a good start in this game again at home. Warriors on a back-to-back with travel, with a makeshift roster at this point, with no Wiggins, etc. I think you're looking at a spot for the Lakers to jump on this team. These games tend to get competitive late. Then again, that's when the Warriors were at full strength, and not so much currently. But I think the Lakers should win, but they still can mess around at the end and maybe give up a backdoor cover. So I think I'm going to go with the halftime, full-time instead for this matchup. Lakers halftime, full-time is available at -120 on ESPN bet. I'll go with that as my lock. Give me the Lakers halftime, full-time in that game. For my dog, I want to go for the Trailblazers, and they were going to be my lock, but I decided, you know what, why not alt spread the damn thing? Because they're a pick'em, and I think they should probably kill the Sacramento team. So I'll go with an alt spread for the Blazers. The question is, how much do I want to pick them to win by? That's kind of the question here. I think I'll pick them to win by, we'll go 6+. Portland -5.5 plus 165.
All right. All right. For my lock, it's going to be the under the Rockets game, or it was going to be Portland. I'll take Portland here. I like the way they're playing. -1 on the spread here. Mention it. Defensively, fantastic. Rebounding, fantastic.
By the way, if you want to, you can get money line at -115 if you want.
Okay, yeah, let's do that because I see the DraftKings has -1 and -112 on the spread there. So money line -115 for the Portland Trailblazers. Just getting it done shockingly on both ends of the floor there. So that's something that I want to back here. Again, one of the hotter teams, if not the hottest team right now in the association. So give me the Blazers here on the money line as my lock. For my dog, not a lot of outright ones that I did like here. I think it was
That's why I
more,
went with the alt spread on Portland.
yeah, chalk heavy here tonight. And again, I don't want to take I was going to take Kyrie props, but this seems like Anthony Davis does play here tonight. Let's see. What is Amen Thompson's double-double? Plus 130. I'll give that out as my dog here. It's not the biggest dog
Terrell's
price.
on the show, so he's not going to give you crap for it, so you're fine.
Yeah, but plus 130 for Amen Thompson. I mean, we know that the guy can get it done, obviously scoring the basketball, but rebounding the basketball and also the assist as well. With Fred VanVleet being out, I would expect him to continue being out there on the floor, facilitating the offense there for the Rockets there. So I'll go Amen Thompson, double-double, plus 130. Definitely shop around, get the best number for his double-double here tonight. All right, lock and dog in the books. Let's do our Underdog Fantasy entry for tonight here. Again, get over there at underdogfantasy.com. Make sure that promo code NBA SGPN. If you haven't already signed up with an account for them, now is the time to do it because they have a lot of no sweat tokens, profit boosts for the big game happening. So take advantage of it. You also get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. But again, you only get that if you use that promo code NBA SGPN. All right, Scott, where do you want to start here tonight?
I'll start off with Amon, since you brought it up. His rebounds are only at 8.5, which I think is a good deal. So I'll go with Amon higher on his rebounds there. I'm trying to think of anything else I want to go with for a potential. I don't know if I want to go for the monster game by LeBron or not. Like, I'm thinking about it, but I don't know if I actually do want to go that route. So, I mean, we could do something with Jokic, but I don't know if they might blow him out too. So I don't really know.
Yeah, that's the concern with Jokic is the blowout factor there. But I know that they're also on a back-to-back. I was going to say Michael Porter Jr., but he's coming off of a career night, so I don't want to back a guy that's just coming off a career night. Let's just see how Jokic has done against the Magic in his career quickly. Let's see here. I mean, his points could probably be a for Jokic, maybe like points and rebounds, but nothing's really sticking out for me there.
I found a random angle that I like. I like Buddy Hield the lower, 16.5 points and assists. He's gone lower than 13 and 4 straight against the Lakers. He went over last game, but once again, Utah was a very high scoring game, etc. He has gone under this number in 6 of the last 7. So I think that the Lakers will look sharp on Buddy Hield. They know that they have to guard him from 3, and he doesn't really have anything else he can contribute offensively besides 3-point shooting. So I like Buddy Hield lower on his 16.5 points and assists.
All right, we'll throw that in there. Buddy Hield lower. Anything you like from the Boston side of things?
I thought about Tatum rebounds, but
yeah, I thought about that too.
He hasn't really rebounded that well lately, which is kind of a problem. I saw somebody mentioning Jaylen Brown RA earlier in the comment section. So let me just quickly see if that's a solid angle for this one. His rebounds and assists are at 10.5. He's had 15 plus in 2 straight. He's had at least 11 in 5 of the last 7 games. He's gone over this also in 4 of the last 5 against Dallas. So yeah, that works. I'll go with Jaylen Brown higher, 10.5 rebounds and assists. All
right, we'll throw that in there. Jaylen Brown, where is he?
It might be a little bit juiced, but
yeah, it's a little juiced, but we'll still take it. All right. So our entry here for tonight, Amen Thompson, higher 8.5 rebounds. Buddy Hield lower on his points and assists combined at 16.5. Then we'll go higher, Jaylen Brown on his rebounds and assists of the number of 10.5. That gets you a 5.58 5.58x entry. So every $10 that you put in, you'll get a return of $55.80 if all three of those are correct for our Underdog Fantasy entry here for tonight. And that, my friends, is going to do it here for this edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast. A lot of trades happening or happened as of yesterday. Broke it all down. Hopefully we get a couple more here. But it feels like the storm has passed as far as the NBA trades go.
Durant might get traded, so we don't know.
Yeah, that's probably the main one. Maybe look for something from the Phoenix side of things, but we'll see what does transpire. But Scott, anything else you want to mention before we get out of here?
Not really. I know you're back tomorrow with Lonte, so I'll be off for the rest of the week for the NBA. I'll be back on Monday. Besides that, I'll have a tennis episode later today, so if you want some tennis thoughts there. Swept the last episode, which is pretty nice, so hopefully we'll sweep in the next one. But if you want some tennis thoughts, I'll have an episode probably tonight or some point in the afternoon, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, make sure you guys follow Scott over on the Twitter machine at Reichel Radio. You can follow me there as well at SportsNerd824. This typically always ends up happening because every time we get off of the show around this time, a trade does transpire. So we'll see if that does happen. But like we mentioned, I'll be back tomorrow, I think, with Lonte. And then we'll break down the games for Friday for you guys. So same time, same place. If you haven't already subscribed to the NBA Gambling Podcast YouTube channel, please go ahead and do so. If you guys do us a favor, hit that like button on your way out of the stream here. All right. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow for the Friday card. Till then, good luck with your bets. Let's break these books off. And always remember to let it ride.
Basketball, give me the ball because I'm